Okay, so these are oral histories that were meant for and are meant for posterity, so to speak. And the idea was to, while I'm still healthy and happy and capable, talk about different elements of my life and other people's lives and record them. And since this medium is so easy now, I thought I would do that here. This is Pinehurst. This is right next to number 2. I tried to get on number 2, but couldn't. There's number 2 right there. That's the 10th hole. And there's a tournament going on right now. Wake Forest is playing. This is course number 4, which is adjacent to it, and it's absolutely gorgeous. And this wasn't in the plan. I was supposed to have dinner this evening, which was canceled. I'm heading up to New Jersey tomorrow to see my cousin, and there's a really cool thing happening at Princeton. A teammate of mine was inducted into the Ivy League Hall of Fame, and I'm going to attend the ceremony. I haven't seen these guys in 40 years. It's going to be really cool. Anyway, then I thought to myself, how cool would it be to do an oral history at Pinehurst? I mean, this was a critical time in my life. So that's what I'm doing. And I do not have a script, but I have some ideas and things I want to talk about. I just had dinner and I was thinking about it. So here goes. I was here 91 to 96. I got married in 91 and I turned pro in 91. And I got the job of caddy master. I had had a fairly successful business career out of Dartmouth, but I had an itch to try to pursue this dream. And I would encourage anybody watching this, if you're not sure what to do and you have a dream and it's somewhat achievable, or you can take steps toward it, do it. So even though I didn't make it technically, I did not make it as a player. It was the greatest 5-year stretch in my life. I played in 50 professional tournaments. I got married and my first child was born here. I met these guys, which I'm going to talk about in a few minutes, who were super instrumental in my life and development. And I'm back here again. Here I am 30 years later. I was here 91 to 96. This is 2023. By the way, this is my daughter's 22nd birthday, Lane. Happy birthday, Lane. You'll get a copy of this. There's so much, and I'm so happy that I'm here and I'm actually doing this. This is course number 4. It's absolutely gorgeous. I'll just give you a little panoramic view. Beautiful par 5 there over the lake. That's one of the signature holes. I mean, it's just a spectacular place. And I wanted to do it up by the clubhouse, but it's packed and there's a tournament with all these collegiate players, so I'm just going to do it out here on the golf course. So I'm going to break this out into a couple different components. Caddy master, playing golf, and then leaving, because that was the component that wasn't that difficult. I didn't make it, but it was an instrumental time in my life. So, and there's a lot of people involved that I need to talk about. So, caddy master. I'm in charge of all the caddies. These were all black guys. I had a couple white guys, but like 99% were black guys. And I came to love these guys, and most of them came to love me, those that survived, because I wasn't going to put up with any crap. And I think that's why they liked me, because I treated them like people. They were accountable for their actions. Doesn't matter what your degree of education was, or whether you're black or white. You're accountable for your actions. And we ended up having a terrific caddy corps. There was training, there was uniforms introduced. And we had some of the best caddies in the country. Yeah, maybe the best resort in the country. The guys downstairs, I wrote them a story recently, Henry, David, and Emmett. They'll get a copy of this. These guys ran Club Storage. I mean, I don't know how to describe these guys other than that they protected me, they shepherded me, they guided me, they advised me, because I wasn't a regular caddy master. I had much larger thoughts and ambitions, and I loved the caddies, and their well-being and was important to me. These three guys, Henry, David, and Emmett, I believe saw that, and this was unusual for a caddy master because I just cared about these guys, and they helped me. I'm still in touch. I had breakfast with Henry today, and Henry told me, hey, Emmett's working. He just got back. I came over and saw Emmett. I'm sorry I didn't see David. There was an article that came out in Sports Illustrated at the end of my tenure here, which precipitated the end of my job. It's a long story short. They brought in a well-known writer from Sports Illustrated who ripped the place apart because how the caddies were treated was pretty bad, and that article came out, and they thought the powers that be here and in Dallas, where the corporate headquarters are, felt I was involved, and I was to some degree, but I didn't invite this guy. This guy was invited by Pinehurst. So it is what it is. I wasn't playing anymore anyway, and interestingly enough, the guy who ran Pinehurst at the time liked me, and he got me a job in management. So I really went from the lowest level job, caddy master doesn't get much lower than that, to a management job, and all of a sudden I'm working in Hilton Head and Washington D.C. and Chapel Hill, and it was a springboard to the Greenwich job, where we're not going to go into that too much, but that was the springboard to Spring Lake, Michigan, where I still live, and all my kids were raised. Beautiful spot. There's so many stories as caddy master, so many stories. I can't go into all of them. The caddies all had these unique personalities. I still remember their names, their demeanors. I remember their caddy numbers. I lived, ate, and breathed the job. I've said it before, it was the best job I ever had, and it probably will be the best job I ever will have, and I was making $4.50 an hour. But if you add in the amount of time on course number 2 that I played at $300 a round, I was making about $300,000 a year. That's the way I looked at it with my buddy Mike Case. We would add up the greens fees, which of course there were no greens fees for employees. We added that into our income. That made us feel a little bit better. So the caddy master position was just super instrumental. And there's a movie there. I call it a mean-spirited Legend of Bagger Vance. That's what it is. There's no magic, but it is like the Legend of Bagger Vance with a real mean spirit to it. So okay, so that's that. The caddy master. I miss it. I miss the guys. Although I'm here. Here I am. And I saw the guys today. There's still a couple caddies caddying. One guy's in his 80s and he's still caddying. All right, playing golf. So I played in just under 50 professional tournaments in 4 years. I had 1 top 5, and I think I had 2 top 10s. And these are little tiny local pro events where the first prize is like $6 grand, $7 grand. So let's put it another way. I lost way more money than I won. But I was pursuing a dream. I tried, I worked hard at it. I had no money. But I played, and I actually played with Steve Stricker once. I caddied for Arnold Palmer. I played with a couple of PGA pros that are still out there on the senior tour, Tommy Tolles, David Ogren, Jim Benepe. Stricker's pretty well known. And I did the best I could. It actually was the basis of the mental strength training, which is now what I do more or less for a living. If you've done the best you can, you've succeeded regardless of the outcome. That's a paraphrase of John Wooden's top block of his pyramid of success, right? Competitive greatness. If you've done the best you can, you have succeeded regardless of the outcome. Think about how powerful that is. The outcome and the results don't matter. If you've done the best you can, you have succeeded, because you can't do better than your best, right? You can't. So whoever's watching this, whatever endeavor it is you're thinking of or doing, just do the best that you can. And you're the only one, by the way, that knows whether you're doing the best or not. Do the best you can, and then you have succeeded. Eventually the outcomes will become positive, and they became positive for me, not so much on the golf course, but in my life and in my pursuit of other things. I realized I had some skills outside the golf course, and this place cemented that. Very interesting experience playing golf. I'm playing with, a bunch of All-Americans from, the ACC, NC State, North Carolina, Duke, all these guys. And I was as good as they were. I really was. They had more seasoning, they had more experience, but I was basically right there with them in these events. So I really got a lot of confidence. When I ended up going back to be an amateur, I won a bunch of tournaments in Michigan. I won 4 tournaments in 6 years, and I'm still thinking of trying to get out there. My back feels better. What else as a caddy? Oh my God, as a player. I would drive. I had this 71 Cadillac Coupe de Ville. It was like a living room on wheels, 8 miles to the gallon. Guy in Aberdeen kept it going. He was like Goober. He was like Goober from Andy Griffith. Ken Bertram. Cigarette hanging from his mouth. Thick North Carolina drawl. And man, did this guy keep that car running. I never had a problem with that car. I sold it to Joe Gillis, one of the caddies, for $100 when I left. So I traveled all over the place, right? Mostly South Carolina, North Carolina. I went to Florida for a month once. That's when I played with Stricker. It was called the Space Coast Tour. Space Coast. And I practiced a lot. I did the best I could. And I missed that, but I'm glad I left, because I wasn't able to make a living at it. Henry was born in 1995. Interestingly, I got into the U.S. Open sectional. I qualified, and Joel Schreiberg, who I'm going to talk about now for a little bit. Joel is a member here and a successful business person who retired here. He had a plane. He flew me down to the sectionals in Atlanta. It's pretty cool. I played with Charlie Reimer. Mike Kays caddied for me in that. Mike Kays caddied for me in a couple of tournaments, actually, and I love Mike. I'll send Mike a copy of this too. I didn't play well in the sectional. It was the event that got you into the Open. It was 36 holes. But just getting in was pretty cool. Only 10 guys from North Carolina got in, and I was one of the 10. And there's a lot of good players here in North Carolina. So that was it. 1995, I quit, and Henry was born, and then I moved on from there into business. And leaving was bittersweet. I own the condo here. Tried to rent the condo out for you, and had success doing that. It's a beautiful spot. I drove by there last night. And I'm trying to think what else I want to talk about with regard to Pinehurst. One of the things that we were raised as in the Jesuit tradition to question authority. It's not always healthy. It's true, but it's not healthy. It's not healthy for your career or for your, your steps forward. but it's true. And so I questioned authority all the time. It got me into a little bit of trouble, especially as it pertained to the caddies. An example is this. Why wouldn't we let these guys play number 2 in a caddy tournament? It can be in December. It can be on a 45-degree day. It doesn't matter. These guys would love to play number 2. Number 2 is the course. It's where the U.S. Open is held and a bunch of other big events. And they said, no, 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 no. So we played on number 3 and number 5, and we played the other courses. It just wasn't the same. My last year, I finally got them to say, yes, you can play number 2. These caddies who have all they do is work on number 2. They caddy and they work their butts off, got to play number 2. I remember it was so sort of like appropriate in a way. We're like out there on the 8th or 9th hole and it starts raining. It like almost never rains here in Pinehurst. And on the one day that they get to play number 2 in their life, it starts pouring rain. But they loved it, and we got to play number 2. And I got into some other pickles with questioning some of the things that were, against fairness and equity. I mean, it's just that's the Jesuit in me. If it's not fair or equitable, then what the heck? Why is this being done? It didn't help me, but it was the right thing to do. And if I had it to do over again, I think I would do it again. Or maybe I would soften my stance a little bit. The condo was a great place for Laura and I and Henry's first few months. A beautiful spot, very quiet on course number 5, the 3rd hole of number 5. And I'm just really glad I was able to do this. Oh, Joel Schreiber, I wanted to talk to him about a little bit. He not only just flew me down, he was like a confidant and an advisor. This guy is smart and funny and successful. I had breakfast with him yesterday. Joel's in his mid-80s. And Joel, you'll get a copy of this too. You were a very important person in my life and still are. And I appreciate your advice and direction. Funny story, he has all these contacts in business because he's successful. So he got, John Alden, I guess, is some big Wall Street firm. And the caddies didn't have umbrellas, and Pinehurst didn't provide umbrellas for the caddies. So one day, 72 umbrellas show up. 2 big boxes of 36 umbrellas show up. And so I'm giving them to the caddies the first day that it's raining, and I said, now make sure you keep this umbrella because this is your umbrella. It's a $20, $25 umbrella. Don't screw it up. So out on the golf course that day, he opened up the umbrella and it says John Alden in big letters. So all over the golf course, Pinehurst number 2, John Alden. I think the owner of Pinehurst was there that day, and he said, what the heck? Is John Alden like sponsoring the caddies? Joel liked that story. It's funny. There's so many stories. I want to write a book or, something. I have all these stories. They're all written down. I'm going to cut this at 20 minutes. I'm at 18 minutes now. I loved being here. Complete blessing. Can you imagine I did this at age 31 and did it for 5 years? And my wife, Laura, is a primary reason why I was able to do it. She supported me. She had a real job. And I'm very thankful to her for that. And then also the beautiful baby that came here in Pinehurst, Henry, and the 2 others that followed shortly thereafter, after I left here, Elise, beautiful Elise, and lovely Lane. Laney turns 22 today and is graduating from college in 6 weeks, 8 weeks. So that's my little oral history about Pinehurst. There's much more to the story than that, but it's a good little intro out here on course number 4. And thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoyed that.